Hello, everyone. We are live here with YouTube and Facebook. Thank you for joining us today. And hey, you know who I am, but I got someone here. I'm gonna have her to introduce herself as we get going with Candid Conversation with MaMa FeFe. Come on.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. This is Chante Hawkins coming from you from Sage Executive. I am the business coach for sex coaching, and sex education. And I've been with MaMa FeFe for, wow, since 2015. So I'm glad to be here with you guys to hold candid conversations. We're going to learn more about Sex Coach and Felicia M, Hunt MA, and MaMa FeFe. So
Yeah,
make sure to put your comments down below or your questions, and we'll do our best to answer those for you guys.
awesome. All
So
right,
let's get into it.
let's
So,
do
Mama Fifi, tell
Yes.
us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about Felicia M. Hunt MA. Give us some backdrop information.
Well, sure. Well, I'm originally from Chicago, Chi-Town, South Side. I was born and raised in Wentworth Gardens, the one on 39th in Wentworth or Princeton. So, yes, that's where I was born and raised. I have two other siblings. I have a sister. I have a brother. My sister have three children. My brother has five. I have a host of nieces and nephews, all over now, but mostly in Chicago. And I moved here to California in 1986 when my son was just 3 months old. He just turned 36 on June 17th. So that's how long I've been between California. And I also used to live in Wisconsin when I got married. I moved to Wisconsin and stayed there. And so I then came back here in 2004 after my divorce. And that's when I was grieving about my relationship. Um, I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do because I had sickle cell. And prior to who I am today, I used to be bullied and teased as a kid. Had a lot of anxiety about myself and around my identity. Um, I probably played it off well. Maybe my friends or my family didn't know that about me. But I used to think as I was growing up and I saw my friends going off to college, I didn't go right after high school because I was sick so much. In grammar school, I missed like 53 days of school, That's a lot of missing. And so I felt like I was just passed along, because I got sick so often. And I didn't have anyone, and I'm not blaming my family members or anything like that, but like to guide me and just tell me, you know, how good I am and I'm better than this. Didn't have those kind of talks. I was just watching. I was just watching my family and doing my best. And so with that, when people were growing up, they were growing up, and I felt like I was being left behind. Some went off to college, some started working because even having the ideal of working was I could get sick, and if I get sick, who would take care of me? I had that kind of idea. So I just thought, I literally thought to myself, I said, the only thing I could really be is a parent. So
Interesting.
I deliberately got into a relationship, fell in love, so called, and I had my beautiful baby boy, and that's what I wanted. I wanted a boy. And then the relationship went sour, and I moved to California because my mom moved to California. She was breaking up with her husband at the time because my biological father had already passed when I was 13. And so, yeah, she moved here, so I wanted to follow my mom. So after I had my baby, I came out here to be with my mom and another like cousin, sister, friend, who uh, was like a sister to me, moved out here as well, and then we moved in together. So anyway, that's how I got to California. And then that's how I met my husband here in California at the time when I got married. And the funny thing is, because I had sickle cell, I didn't plan a wedding. I didn't do anything of that nature. We went to Vegas and got married, and none of my hi, hi. I see who's there. Hi, MaMa FeFe. Hello, thank you for joining. And so I didn't know, um, that if I planned for the wedding, would I be in the hospital, right? So
Right.
all of this is relevant to how I got here. So I didn't plan it. My family members was mad at me, because they thought there would be bridesmaids, in the wedding.
Right. Right.
And I just went and got married. I was like, well, can you just be happy for me, because I can't do things the normal way.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So then, needless to say, we were together a total of 12 years. We had a long engagement, and then we finally got married in '99, and it lasted for about 5 years. And in 2004, I got divorced. And then I came back here to California because by that time, my son had went off to college. I was like, okay, now I can just think about me, start my life over. He's in college, so he's going to be doing him. I'm going to do me. So I moved in with my sister friend, because we were raised together. And her and her sister, both of them had jobs, and I didn't. So I was still with sickle cell. I was getting disability. So the only thing I could pitch in is whatever I could, and help around the house, cook and clean for them while they work. And then the older one was like, what you gonna do with your life? I was like, can't you see I'm grieving? Leave me alone. Can't you see I'm grieving? You asking me what I'm gonna do with my life. So the other sister, more softer, came and said, we're not biological, but they're sisters by spirit. And she said, well, we need to know what you're gonna do. And I was like, okay, I'll think about it. And so this literally happened. I was, at the time, Tyra Banks had a talk show, and I was watching Tyra Banks, and she had someone on there that was a sexologist. I said, shut your mouth. What is that? Is that a real thing? I go over to the computer and I researched it, and what's her name? Ruth, Dr. Ruth showed up. I said, Dr. Ruth is a sexologist for real. I just thought she was some little short comedic lady they would just have on TV
Right.
for a laugh, because she's old and she talked about relationships. That's what I thought. And I looked it up, and sexology had been around since the 1800s. I mean, it had a history. Yeah, it had a history and everything. So I started searching for the school. And I found this school, but I could never get the connection. So I went back to my sister. I said, I'm going to go back to school. I said, because I have sickle cell, I need to do something that will be comparable to me. So I won't get so stressed out. Do something that I love so I won't be in and out of the hospital. That was my whole logic. Like, let me find this school. Let me start this journey, because I believe I'm not squeamish about any topic about sex. I had already, people would always come to me and talk to me about different topics already. So I felt like, hey, I already got a foot in the door, like I need to just go learn more, And so, so I went to Chaffee College. I started off, I said, I'm just going to start all over. And I got my associate's degree in psychology and literature. And then from there, I went to Pitzer College, and I was able to study abroad in South Africa and for 5.5 months. And I took psychology and Africana studies, so a double major, got my bachelor's. A professor there then referred me to Pacific Ocean College, which this was all in Merritton. That's how I said, well, I can't find the sexology school. I'm not having no connection. So the best next thing I can do is become a marriage and family therapist. And if along the way I find this school, I'll get in it too. So I went, and along the way, I found Sex Coach University, and it was an online course. And because of complications and stuff, getting sick, it took me a long time to finish the program. But eventually, I got my certification, and that's how I became a sex coach. And then I got my master's in marriage and family therapy, and then I went on to go enroll in to get my doctorate in marriage and family therapy, and I'll be finishing my dissertation hopefully by spring of next year. So I'll be doctor for marriage and family therapy. I'm already certified sex coach, so I'll be wearing those hats. So that's my story and how I became a sex coach.
Congratulations. That is phenomenal. Soon we'll be calling you Dr. Mama.
Soon, soon.
That
Some
is
people do
phenomenal.
already. I have to tell them I'm not that yet. Y'all gonna get me in trouble. Don't be calling me doctor yet. They like, you gonna do it. We just, yeah, you doctor to me. It's a good
That is
feeling, but I'm not doctor yet.
that is a triumphant story. How you've
Yeah.
overcome your disabilities to achieve great things. You know, how you say, having met you so many years ago at an event, a sickle
Mhm.
cell event, as a matter of fact. And I made the comment, I have sickle cell. Sickle cell doesn't have me.
That's right.
With that mindset, you have gone on to achieve many great things since I've met you and we began working together. I just want to take the time to applaud you for your efforts that
Uh,
every day, one foot in front of the other, that you go out and you do the work that you do to change your life and be that image for others to do the same. Disability aside, trauma aside, you still continue to put one foot in front of the other to create the life that you desire, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing. So tell us, how does MaMa FeFe play into Six Coach? Who is MaMa FeFe?
Yeah. So MaMa FeFe is what my family used to call me. They used to call me Mama. My family, like my mom. My mom called me Mama. Mama, do this, Mama. Didn't I tell you? And they called me Mama. And she called me Mama because as a little child, I was way before my years. Like I would ask these questions. They'd be like, where did she get this from? And look at her. Look the way she do this and do that. I was like a mama, to them. That's what I reminded them of, like a mama. I am a Scorpio, and you know, the Scorpios, boy, I tell you. So, and then my friends, my close friends, sister friends, they call me Fee, Flea, Fifi. So that's how Fifi came in. So I decided to put them together so I could serve my family and my dear friends who call me Fifi and Mama. So today, my sister friend Barbara, she always called Mama. She'll call me Mama to this day. So, um, that is a name that just stuck with me. And so it also correlates with six coach, the number six. Six is a mothering number, it's a nurturing number. So it is a master number if you know anything about numerology. And I took the time out to look it up because I was also trying to be careful of saying the word sex. Because when you're on different platforms, you can get blocked or dinged or whatever. And I was like, well, if I already put a play on words, then that should protect me. And then when I thought about, well, what play on words would I use? I was like, I didn't know. And then I said, I'm going to use the six. I'm going to change it to a six. And so it's still sex coach, but
Hmm.
it's just spelled with a six. And so, but the meaning behind the six, I feel like I'm a nurturer, a good listener. I feel like I am a mom to my clients, because I hold space for them. And that's how it all connects to the name MaMa FeFe.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
It does come together in that way, where you are creating a platform that's conducive for people to feel comfortable and safe as they explore sex, sexuality, and all of the things that follow with that. So That's phenomenal. MaMa FeFe, you guys. Wow.
When somebody says
Amazing.
here, wow, how triumphant. You are a true warrior. Uh, ever
In every
since
sense
in
of the
sense of
word.
the word. Well, thank you. It's not showing the name. So, but thank you. Yeah. So,
Wow. Okay. So, MaMa FeFe and Six Coach. Six Coach, tell us how you came up with the vision. What is the vision for Six Coach? And tell us a little bit about how you come to creating Six Coach.
well, because I had taken, hey,
Hey,
Shay.
Shay Brian.
So, how I came about it was because of my marriage and family therapy had when I was in my practicum, I started off with sexual assault survivors. And
Mm,
I helped many different people, ages. I mean, I think I had a woman who was 80 years old, and I was in practicum. So this was just
wow.
me practicing, and they love me. I was able to hold that delicate space, when somebody's been sexually assaulted and that trauma. And I was dealing with that population. So I said, I want to keep working with that population,
Hmm.
because I was molested as a child myself at 4, my babysitter, which was a female. And I tell you, it was something about me. How some children keep it a secret because they're embarrassed or been threatened. I told my mom, and
Wow.
my mom said, I'll be right back. She said it real nicely, I'll be right back. And then my sister said, I'm going with you. And I said, oh Lord. But anyway, to go on, no, I never saw her again, not even in the neighborhood.
Right.
But
Wow.
I just think my mom went and had a talk with her mom. And she was pregnant too. And I think back in those days, you know, they sent children off to the South, adult children or teenagers or whatever she was.
Right.
Uh, I think they just sent her out to the South so she can have her baby and just, be out of my way, so I wouldn't be further traumatized. So
Right.
I don't know, but that's my theory. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So because of that, I wanted to work in that population. So I thought about that. So then I said, okay, as I start finding my niche, we back in 2015 had launched Six Coach,
Right.
and that's about all I knew at that time. And then around 2017, I said, where you trying to take me? I can't go, Chante. We're gonna have to stop because I don't think I'm ready, right? And so when COVID broke out, the domestic violence was on the rise. And I said, I think it's time for me to start Sex Coach back because there's
Hmm.
people out there that need me. And a part of domestic violence is that men can rape their wives. And that's a part of domestic violence as well. And so I still wanted to help women.
Hmm.
And what I wanted to do was set them free from shame to move into freedom into their sexuality. So my
Right.
vision is to also help them identify what sex is. So that's how I started. Um, that's the ideal I started with. That I wanted women to be free and unapologetically free. And I wanted them to sit on their thrones as the beautiful queens that they are and know it and learn how to use their voices and just command the room whenever they walk in it with
Right.
confidence. Hmm.
That's powerful. That is absolutely powerful. Knowing that you address sex, sexuality, identity
Hmm.
is so powerful. And your vision to help women to get that back so they
Yeah,
can stand right beside their male counterparts and feel strong, feel desired, feel important,
feel
helping.
valuable, feel worthy.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. That is that is awesome work to be done. So I
Thank
understand Six Coach actually expands beyond. the United States. There's some work that you're doing in Africa.
Oh yes,
Tell us a little bit about that.
through Village Mindful Wellness Center, they have some connections in South Africa and Nigeria. And I am able to do my coaching with them because I'm a certified sex coach, and I'm able
Hmm.
to coach them with all the issues or whatever the young people and adults have. And so I schedule appointments with them and check in with them every week and, help them with, identity issues, whether it's, with school or just something with everyday life. And I did a couple of fundraisers for them. And yeah, so I'm very excited about that. I have met some other folks that have schools and other nonprofits out there. And I'm just hoping to be able to collaborate with them and help them with whatever projects they have, and maybe in the future projects that I would like to do as well.
Awesome. So Six Coach is a global organization. This is amazing. You're making strides all across the world. This is
Yeah.
amazing work to be done. Tell me a little bit about the Six Coach philosophy and how that ties into your work that you're doing.
Well, my philosophy is this, that we all have a first trauma. And that first trauma alter us from our true self. We go into this false self because we try to protect ourselves with these maladaptive coping mechanisms that when we get older, they doesn't serve us. We really have these walls and we really can't connect deeply to our life, to our love life and relationships. And so when we go through these first traumas, and I call the fall the transgression. In that transgression, you discover. Well, you don't discover because you're unconscious of. You think you're doing what you're supposed to do, and that's where your false self develops. And then it's not until something else happened to cause this light bulb to come on to say, "Wait a minute, what am I doing?" And when you get to that point, I call that your aha moment. And when you have your aha moment, then you begin this journey, which I call going through the fire. And when you go through the fire, what you're seeking out is trying to find out, who am I? Because you learned a learned behavior, and any learned behavior can be a changed behavior. Excuse me. And so when you go through the fire, then you get to a point to where you find your true self. And that's where I come in. When you recognize that you've been on the wrong track and you don't know how to get on the right track, then my customers contact me and then I help them go through the fire, because you're going to have to. There's no way around it. You're going to have to go through the fire. You're going to have to do the work, right? Because we are threefold. We are mind, body, and spirit. And all three have to be in alignment, and all three have to be healed. So I focus on well-being for life, right? I don't say, okay, keep coming to me when you have a problem. I want to work with you for healing, for life. Like, you can take the tools with you, and every time something come up, you can use those tools to get yourself to the other side, so that you can always stand in your presence as your true self, knowing who you are, making real decisions, not double, not second guessing yourself, not being, you know, undecisive, like truly desire, knowing what you want, living there. Like, somebody asks you something, you can answer it. Not this, I don't know what you want. You can literally say, yeah, I would like to go and see this movie and name it and everything. well, whatever you like, and, trying to make ourselves all meek, and that's that trauma. No, live
Mm-hmm.
full out, live full out, live who you are, and get to know who you are. And it has nothing to do with gender identity, nothing. The person I'm getting to, it has nothing to do with your gender. It has everything to do with how you was created to be. And when you go through that first trauma, it takes you off of that journey of discovering who your heavenly mother and father, whatever you believe in, um, has created you to be. And so that's what I do with sex, because you are born in your sex, not your gender, not that identity, but the sex of who you are, who you feel you are, who you were created to be.
To
And
be.
so I target I target those people who understand that they have had some sort of trauma, and now they want to live outside of that trauma and identify who they are. And then they want to be on a course to understand what's this all about for me. And then be on that course to say, I know who I am, and I know whose I am. And so now I can be in relationship. I can be in deep connection. I have nothing to hide. I have no shame, no guilt, no pain, none of that. I am who I was created to be.
And so that in itself is how you move men and women who have experienced sexual trauma,
Mm-hmm.
move them from the shame of that trauma into
Yes.
freedom in their sexuality.
Yeah. Correct.
That's amazing. So
Correct.
well-being for life, that's a path back to true self. That is the
Yes.
whole vision. The vision of Six
Right.
Coach is helping us to move ourselves past that shame that we might feel around the sexual identity that we may have created for ourselves that might be that false self. But when we ask those questions, who am I? How
Mm-hmm.
come I? You know, we can come to Six Coach and discover who we truly are.
Right.
You know, you being able to help us to realize our true selves outside of any circumstance. So
And
that way we can create those relationships that we desire and
exactly.
live
You can
full
have
out.
it. You can
Right.
have it. Not like we always say, I gotta get. When you say I gotta get, it's like this tight. You feel tight. But when you say
Hmm.
I can have this, it's like, oh, it's so nice to have. You know what I mean? Like I can have it.
Right.
It's not here yet, but I can have it. You just keep yourself open to it and know that that is all a part of why we are part of the human collective. We are all connected. It's not
Right.
about race, sex, creed, caste, color, all that. That's something that was constructed. So we are all a part of the human collective. And so, what we desire, what we speak, we can speak it into existence. And so, what I do is I help a person shift the brain from the negative neural pathway to the positive neural pathway through what is called positive intelligence, PQ. I teach them some techniques and skills on how to get to the other side, get out of that negative self talk and into more of a positive mindset and self talk, and recognize the saboteurs that we carry. I also have an assessment test on my website that people can take to find out what top is. You'll get all 10, but it'll be at least 3 that has high numbers, and those are your most saboteurs that interfere with you getting to the other side. And so people take that test and they book a, a reading consultation with me, and I'll go over their saboteurs with them. And then from there, the way I have things set up, it's like a comprehensive holistic approach to their own healing the way that they want to. So they can
Right.
go to my website and they can pick out card reading, Reiki, coaching, you know, um, different, different styles rather, to help them ease into their journey of healing. And so I'm very proud of that I have these services. I am a master Reiki. Um, so I do provide that. I do read cards. I do provide that, you know. And so, and then I do the coaching, you know. Am I missing anything? I wear many hats.
Yes, absolutely. No, I think that touches on it.
Mhm.
How does this service begin? How does one's a customer's journey begin? Does it begin by taking a saboteur reading and then learning from there what could be keeping them from living in their desires, or how does the path start to doing
Well,
the work?
that's part of it. I mean, if they just are in search, and they could start with the assessment first, and then they could just do a free 15-minute consultation where we get to meet each other and talk to each other and see what the main issue is. And if they like what I'm saying, then hey, I will direct them to what I feel that they should have and take. And if they agree, then they just go to my website and just click on the items, pay for it there, schedule it there, and then I'll receive the appointment. And then it's a remote call where we will talk on Zoom, or if they request it to be a phone call, we can probably do something like on WhatsApp or whatever. Um, but you normally is on Zoom, and and then whatever they pick, if it's a 4 session, 6 session, 8 session, 12 weeks, whatever, then for the next few weeks, I see them every week until we resolve the issue.
So, sexual, how do we say this? Sexual issues, for lack of a better term. When somebody wants to get, you know, work with you or work with
Mhm.
Six Coach, what kind of troubles may they be experiencing?
Well, sometimes, I get a lot of either um, anxiety or depression, or sometimes, it might be pain, women having pain, women are not having orgasms, men maybe having what they call ED, erectile dysfunction. They might be experiencing some performance issue. Most men think that they have like early ejaculation, but they don't understand that if they go past a minute, that's not, I believe it's a minute. I'm kind of rusty on the time,
Hmm.
but it's either a minute to three. If they last more than that, they don't have ED. If you come less than that time, then maybe you may have an issue. And then we just unpack what's going on in the brain, because most likely it's something in their mind about the performance of having to perform, and we just work on what's going on in the brain to find out, you know, what could be causing the EE. It's the same thing with ED, which is erectile dysfunction. Now, it could be medication, and so we always refer out. Make sure you check with your doctor. Find out if everything is okay physically, so, and then we move right into, you know, is it some sort of you know, issue medically? If not, then we just move straight to digging in again. What is he telling himself? What kind of self-talk? What is going on? Um, and then like my couples, when I see both, sometimes it's usually around something they didn't talk about before they became a couple. And I give permissions to my couples to create the kind of relationship that fits them. Stop trying to be traditional. Stop trying to hold up what you've seen. Be open to communicating and creating the type of relationship you want. You have that privilege. You have that right. You deserve to have the type of relationship that you want. So create it. And I give them permission to do that. And they be like, I never thought of that. you
Right.
know, you
And
know,
that goes back to the emancipation of the former ideals that no longer serve us regarding our sex, our sexuality, and our identity, and how that plays into our relationships and our primary relationship with ourselves. So if we
right,
can't, if we're not free to enjoy ourselves,
right.
um, and understand
I mean, the
ourselves,
way
we
we were
can't.
socialized as men and women, we were
Right.
socialized very different. And the other thing that comes up is that because men think we're so emotional and have all these feelings, that something is wrong with the feminine. And then men, because they're so like linear and the other word that I'm looking for, it's like more just direct, straight, you know,
Hmm.
and they want to fix things all the time. And I always show this video with this lady talking to talking to her mate with a nail in her head, in her forehead, to show that when she's talking about, oh, I got this headache, this way, and now she got this nail in the middle of her head, and she's talking about, I have this headache, I don't know what it is, and blah blah blah. He was like, well, you got it. It's not about the nail, and it's really this joke because it's trying to show how men are not able to dive into their feelings to feel what the woman is going through. And it's only until he can really get into his feminine, because we all have masculine and feminine, but he
Hmm.
needs the feminine to soften him a little bit to have that emotional connection, that compassion. But because they're socialized that I'm the head of household, I'm the provider, I'm the protect, blah, blah, blah. Where is that feminine energy in them to just take a time out and say, I hear you, and just
Hmm.
hold that space, you know? Um, because we're nurturers and we know how to do that very well. And if we didn't pay them that kind of attention, they would be very upset, you know. So for us to continue to do our job, that what we were created to do naturally, so we got to be able to pour into us what we need so we can continue to do that. So when I break that down to my couples and how that should look with them, then they begin to fix it. They
Right.
begin to fix it, themselves together. They both have a part together in creating that kind of connection, which bring about deep connection, because it's really spiritual. Sexuality is spiritual. There's nothing physical about it. It's healing, it's just wonderful places to be in. And so that's why I aim to work on the identity, who you are, because I could tell you what kind of sex toys to get and what kind of positions and what you're made out of and how you made, and I can tell you how to reach pleasure. I can tell you that. But you're only gonna last briefly. It's not gonna be long term if you don't know who you are. So I focus on bringing the person up a notch or two or whatever to a higher level for deeper connection, because that lasts. When you live in your desire every day, that means you do exactly what you want every day. Exactly. And it's not selfish, it doesn't
Hmm.
come off selfish. You always continue to be kind, have good character, and do no harm. That's what this whole thing is about.
Knowing yourself means that you can not only enjoy sex, your sexuality, yourself, but also being able to care and
And
love
in,
the
yeah,
other person, right?
exactly.
Right.
As they are unconditional love. What
Unconditional.
do your love, when you have 100% love for yourself and you have 100% love for somebody else, what can somebody else do with your love when you are responsible for your love?
Right.
You keep giving your love,
Right.
despite if the other person is not receiving it well. You do not let someone else bring out bad character in you because they're having bad character. You keep being yourself because that's where your blessings come from.
Right. Right. So you're just explaining your brand of sex coaching,
That's my brand.
going beyond the pleasurable moments as it being an outcome of the deeper connection that you're helping people to establish, being
Mm,
authentic within themselves,
yeah.
being authentic with each other is going to yield that deeper connection and that pleasure.
And trust and harmony and balance. You're going to get all of that.
Right. Right. Wow. Wow. So what is Mama FeFe Six Coaches take on sex?
Oh, what is my take on sex?
Hmm.
Yeah, like I said, sex is healing. It's very healing. The woman's orgasm is healing. Those are pure waters, that flow. The man giving up his life, his seed at a given point, it's all on a higher level. And when a man gets to that point of no return and he holds himself back and live in that orgasm for as long as he for as long as he can, that's like living in utopia for him and be able
Mm.
to please his woman at the same time. So we talk about that and also practice that for men because sometimes they want to reach a goal, and sometimes getting together with your woman is not about reaching a goal. You have to be present. And sometimes it takes more stimulation because we are, as women, we have so many different points that turns us on. And it's like we're a playground. And if you just play with us a little more, you'll get the outcome that you deserve, or what desire, I should say. And and so sometimes we just have to bring those thoughts down, uh, relax, be in the moment, be present. And sometimes we as women, our part is not just to lay there and just think that the man should know what he's doing. He may have some experiences, but he might not know exactly what you like, right? It's like we're all women and we all wear dresses, but my dress might be blue and yours is red. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And so he need to know what to do for the blue dress, and your man need to know what to do for the red dress. And
Hmm.
so, and that's the thing. Will the man be workable enough to take in what we say, how we say it? We're not trying to do what is it? Um, Demasculate,
Demasculate.
yeah, him. We're not doing that. We are wanting to make him great. We want to make
Wow.
him great because we see the potential
Hmm.
of what he can do and what he can be. And that's not just in the bed, that's outside of the bed too. And that's
Right.
why they say behind every great man there is a
Great woman.
great woman.
Right.
And sometimes men think the attraction that they get from other women is because of them. No, it's actually because of the woman you with. Other people always want what they can't have. And so when they see you and you are glowing in your woman's orgasm, they want that. They're like, what is that? The Matrix showed that with Neo. That other woman who had a husband wanted to know what he was getting from his woman, the other lady, I forget her name in the movie. But he had to kiss her because she wanted what she had. That was a
Wow. That's
perfect
deep.
example. Yeah. She saw that connection and she wasn't getting that from her man. So she manipulated the situation and made the other woman watch her kiss her man because she wanted to experience that.
That's deep. That is so deep. Your perspective, I don't know. Your perspective, boy. Wow.
Yes. And and we as women, because of the nurturers we are, we sit back and we don't sit on our throne like we should and know that about our power, about our orgasm our power gives us.
Whew. That is deep. That is
Because
deep.
why? That motivate when we give of ourselves in a way that the man like, motivates him to be on that call. What do you want? That's what he want to know. He wants you to be able to tell him what you want. Why? Because he wants to provide for you.
Right.
And when you're able to speak those words and tell him and give him what he wants, oh, every time you call, he gonna answer.
Hmm. Wow. There's some nuggets there, y'all. Some nuggets.
Let's see who's in the chat. Hey, Reed, how you say your first name? What's that? How you say the
Gruen?
question? Huh?
I think Gruen
Gruen?
or
Gruswin?
Jeroen.
Ah, we are bad with the name.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
But hey, Reed, I can say that. All right.
Does anybody have any questions for Mama FeFe?
You
Drop your
can put,
comments or your questions below so we can ask her. Get your questions answered. So, Mama FeFe,
yes.
your work with individuals and their sexuality, their orientation, and their identity.
Mm-hmm.
So, we know that you work with them to teach them desire to live in these spaces
Mm-hmm.
unapologetically. But what does it look like in terms of sexuality and identity and orientation? How do you help them in those areas?
He said, call him G. I G. um, so, well, first, like I said, we have to identify the first problem. We have to identify what turned them to believe in whatever ideas or concept that they have about themselves, about what they can and can't do, how they look. Can they look at themselves in the mirror? Can you just stand butt naked in front of the mirror? That is so hard for some people. They
Right.
can't even look at themselves just by their face. I have to take very baby steps to just look at yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the kicker. When I put the test to them to explore the JJ, some of us never seen it. We watch it, but we don't know what it looked like.
Right.
Number two, but then we get in a relationship and we hand it over to somebody else, and you don't know nothing about it yourself.
Wow.
How is that possible? So I
Wow.
bring them back in to themselves to accept their bodies, to know how beautiful they are. You only have one body in this lifetime, and you must embrace it, and you must accept it, and you must love it. I have features about me that I don't like, but I know how to dress them up. I still love myself, and I know how I look down there. I know how I feel down there. I know what excites me, what doesn't excite me, what I'm willing to do, what I'm not willing to do. Some of us go in not knowing, or if we know, we're afraid to say because, oh, he might think I'm this, he might think I'm that. We do this to it. That's just false evidence appearing real. Fear.
Right.
We're living out of fear. So then once we get to that, then I tap into letting them come up with understanding their sexuality, their orientation. And what's the other one you asked me?
Their identity, just how they
Their,
identify
yeah,
themselves.
their identity.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I think those terms are really spiritual. I believe we are all made in the image of our Most High, right? And what I
Hmm.
mean by that, if the Most High is inscrutable and incomprehensible, has no particular shape and form, then that's how vast we are. And to just try to put us down as a gender, male or female, and keep us in that box does not take care of all the other things we are. And so that's why in this society, people are having a hard time with uh, homosexuality, and all this gender issue.
Hmm.
When everyone is a manifestation of the Most High, how can we be upset with that?
Right.
So yeah, um, so that's my thing, is to also educate and bring awareness through my research of how I see the world and how I see we are all one, and how I see we are all made in the image. He said, "Let us," who was the us, "make man." When he called forth the light was the feminine energy, and the light created everything. And when it was done, God stood back and said it was good and very good. So then when he said, "Let us make man in our image," he then went on and said that male and female created he them. He created them. So we all have masculine and feminine in us. We have the them in us. And then as we see ourselves in 3D out here in this world, when we come together, we are the male and female. I don't care if it's the same relationship. Someone is masculine, somebody is feminine. We are not breaking that law. And when
Right.
they talk about, well, they can't produce children. Why do you just see children as something physical? Why can't you see offspring as the birth that they give through the exchange of loving one another? It could be a spiritual birth. It's what they do with their heart and their mind, and what they got on their heart and their mind about what they're doing. That's giving birth too.
I've
So,
never, ever, ever thought of birth in that perspective.
yeah, just like when
Ever.
you talk about oral sex. We're having oral sex. It's conversation.
Or, okay. Every time we come together, something new. You didn't
I
prep me for
think
that
there's
one.
a question. There's a
There's a
question.
question.
What's the question? Read it for me, please.
All right. So G's question is, how can a man make a woman truly happy?
Truly. Ooh, that's a truly happy, he says.
Hmm.
That's too much for you to bear. That's too much for any man to bear. A woman has to be happy with herself first. Let me explain. When we get in relationships and we talk about, oh, he complete me. Oh, she's the love of my life, my soulmate. When we do that, we're giving our power away, right? And what I mean by that is that if you're not responsible for your love that you have for the other person, and then you don't love yourself, what kind of love are you giving?
Dang.
So my thing is, we have to make sure it's in us. If it's not in us, we can't give what's not there. When you talk
That's
about,
right.
I just want to be happy, are you? Is it in you to be happy? If it's in you to be happy, then you'll be happy with the one you with and what they do for you. So it's too much for you to truly make somebody happy. They have to be truly happy with themselves. And when they're truly happy with themselves, then you can truly make them happy. Did that make sense?
G says, yes, I can't make you happy if I'm not happy with myself. That is spot on.
Exactly. You can't give what you ain't got.
That's so true. Woo, are you guys feeling me? It's getting hot in here. Wow.
Calm down, calm down.
Wow. Wow. That's just a place to rest, right there on that idea of if you don't have it to give, that's because you don't have it within yourself. G says, yes, that makes sense. So deep, so deep.
And that's
It's
what
like
I'm about.
revelation.
That's what I'm about. You got to go deep with me. Like, don't be surface. I'm gonna help you get there because we all want connection. We all want connection, but we are so used to disconnecting. Like we think disconnecting is going to solve the problem. No, disconnection gonna get you lonely and by yourself. That's what it's gonna get you. So you might as well put your boots on, strap them up, jack your slacks, put your big girl panties on, big boy drawers on, and
And get ready.
Get on in here, roll your sleeves up. Because if you guys don't go through the fire together, you never get to the other side. That's when you know what you're made out of. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of asking the question. Ask as many questions during the dating phase as you can. Ask, and if I did this, what would you do? Like hypothetical question. So far out that what if this? And what like explore it all because I'm telling you, when it shows up in the relationship and you didn't discuss it, you definitely gonna be in crisis and you definitely gonna be trying to find me. You are. And then I'm gonna be there for you. I'm gonna hold the space and I'm gonna help you get across. And that's why I'm here. That's what I'm here to
And
do.
maybe even seek a sex coach before you go into a relationship.
Get the marriage counseling, get the couples counseling, whatever, individual counseling before you get into the dating. Check in, make sure you all right. Explore
Right.
explore your ideas. See how you can have your desires because you're worth it.
So many of us jump headfirst into relationships with ideals passed down from generations, what we were taught and what we weren't taught. And what we weren't taught seems like it outweighs what we were taught,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just out in the world just feeling and feeling and feeling and navigating with blindfolds on. It's
Right.
so imperative to know what true happiness is and where to find that, where to go to foster what happiness is. And then even to learn what pleasure is. There's so many of us out here engaging in things and totally dissatisfied because we don't understand. If we first must be happy within ourselves and we must find pleasure within ourselves
Come on
in
now.
order to give and then being able to receive it. I feel like that is what genuine pleasure is, right? And so that makes total sense that we want to get our minds right and get our outlook or our vision in place for what we're expecting to get. How much, time we could save or so much emotional turmoil we could not experience if we would learn who we are.
That's we have another question, I think.
Yeah, I think G said, I have found it hard to have a meaningful conversation with someone under the age of 35, MaMa FeFe.
Well, let me tell you, female's brain mature at the age of between the ages of 25 and 26. Um, a male's brain takes a little longer between the ages, maybe like 27, 28, something like that. A little longer before that prefrontal lobe grows and gets some understanding. So 35, some people may have a deficit, especially if they've gone through some trauma because it stunts your growth. Whatever age your first trauma happened, Your developmental stages stop right there. So by the age of 35, somebody could still be 16, somebody could still be 8, somebody could still be 10. They haven't developed. The body has grown. It says it looks like an adult, but what is here has been affected. And so that might be what's going on, is that they're not mentally mature, right? And they probably never thought that they needed help to work out some things. And so so sometimes if we just say things with kindness and ask those questions. Have you ever sought therapy or coaching or counseling? Just make that a part of your conversation so you can see where a person is, and if they feel like there's some people have, but they might not have extensively done the work to whereas it has held them over. They might need to go back and really find someone that can work with them to help them get to the other side. Because you can have therapy, but by being traumatized, so many other things can trigger you. And you not know you being triggered. You just think, oh, that's just me. You got to deal with me. That's just the way I am. But it's actually a trigger. It's not you. That's a coping mechanism. And that is an excuse to behave in that manner because it feels good and it's comfortable and it protects you. You think it protects you, but it only keeps you disconnecting from leaning in to love and attraction and feeling what romance is about. All attraction are not meant to be the end all be all. Some attractions are just there to test you to see how much you've grown. Because you ask for things and then your heavenly host makes it show up. And then they're testing you to see if you can handle it. And sometimes we fail miserably. And then
we're not ready.
Yeah, and then we complain as if we're not doing it to ourselves. We blame someone else for what is happening to us.
Sounds like you're describing the false self.
Yes. Yep. After the trauma, the false self and how it just gets in the way. It keeps you blind. It makes you see things that are not there. Your perspective is off.
And that false self sounds like it's a safe space because
it makes you think it. It'd be like, it rears up like, what they say? And then you might be a people pleaser. You might be a judge. You might be hyper vigilant. You might be a victim. All these things come up because you was triggered. And you think, that's just the way I am. No.
So your saboteurs and your false self kind of run parallel.
Correct. When you're in your false self, your sabotage show up to support it.
To keep you there.
They don't belong to you. When people say, well, my saboteur is this. No, don't keep them. Don't keep them. I only help you identify them so that you can get rid of them or put them in control. Like you'll know in the moment what's happening to you. You say, no. I don't need you right now. The adult me, who I am, I got this.
So the opposite of your saboteur is your sage self, which is parallel to your true self.
Exactly.
All right. G has another comment. He was saying, last relationship, my ex had trauma at early age of 14 and she is bipolar.
And was she clinically diagnosed? Because we use that word, we diagnose ourselves so much that
we do. And each other.
He's narcissistic. He's this. He's it's like, did he get that clinically? Like, did a therapist tell him? So that's what I want to know. Did a doctor actually diagnose her, or a clinician actually diagnose her with bipolar? Because what is going on if she experienced trauma, she's just being triggered. And it may look manic at some time, and then it might look calm at some time, you know, or it may look anxious and depressed the next. So
Okay.
we have to know our triggers from trauma. You have to identify your triggers because could um, someone could just say something, or someone can just show up, or someone can just look at somebody just to look. And you might be admiring that person, like, oh, they look so nice. I love what they got on. But they be like, what you looking at? That's trauma.
Yeah.
Why are you
Yeah.
looking at me like that? You know, that's trauma. It's like you can't even stand for someone to look at you,
And admire you.
someone to maybe give you a compliment, and it's not creepy, not that kind of thing. You can't tell the difference, and you what, you know, that's trauma.
Right.
But you may
Reed,
think that's the way I am.
Reed shares that it was a clinical diagnosis from a therapist or a psychiatrist, I believe.
Right. And I think that with medication and getting to the root cause, she would be okay. She
And
would
some
be okay.
support from sex coach MaMa FeFe, she would be even better.
Yeah, you
Well,
know. Hmm.
MaMa FeFe, what
Yes.
is who is sex coach for? Who should come visit you if they have what kind of, you know, pain or desires?
Well, someone definitely, well, you know, you have to find a niche. And my niche is women, but I do service men from time to time. So I'm not closed. But the kind of attitude or the kind of thing the person needs is to be ready to go through the process. And they're at the point where they are had been pondering and been having this feeling like, I know there's something better for me. And I know there's deeper connection. And I know it exists, but I don't know how to get there. And I need help to find it, you know. And because of my own personal experience, I know how to help someone get to desire. It is not an it, you know, I can't sit up here and lie and say it's an easy task. I'll be lying to you. So when like in the consent form and in the intake, we have to tell people that, you know, this might be emotional sometimes. Some parts of this might be hard, but I'm here and you are in a safe place to discuss it with me. And so that's just the reality of it across the board. And so I just say that, you know, you're at that point, at that crossroad, and you don't know which way to go. And you're seeking help to make the right decisions for you, to feel connected, to feel loved, to feel valued, to feel worthy, to move through life knowing your place and your space in this world as you should be, as your authentic self. So that would be who I would work with.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Reed,
people who have mental illness, G, always. That's that comorbidity. You know, my tongue is not strong sometimes, but that's that duality, that diagnosis of having mental illness and codependent on some sort of drug. Um, that's what they do. And so that's why, and you bring up a very good point there when you mention that. That's why we in the mental health field have to come up with some clear definitions about mental health and drug addiction. Because when somebody is addicted to drugs and they say they're depressed and have anxiety and they think that's why they're doing the drug, that is, but addiction is addiction. Addiction has its own set of rules. It has its own way of getting to the other side, by detoxing, and because that brain has to change. Because when you get addicted to something, your whole brain just desires the drug. You don't want to eat. You don't want to do nothing else. You just think about how you can get that drug. So that's one thing. Mental illness deals with the chemicals are not connecting or not firing right. Things are not connecting right in the brain. Something is happening chemically, and so that's why they make the the psychotropic drugs to make sure things are firing correctly and things are being filled in to make that brain right. But the thing where it gets twisted, because I have a son that has mental illness, the thing that get twisted, I think they lump all the different types of mental illness together, and I think everything needs to have its own category and have its own treatment and own uh, philosophy, its own modalities, because if we keep looking at it the same way, that's why we get so many people out there homeless that are mentally ill. And it's not a thing of just detoxing. Detoxing is not the thing for people who have real
Got
mental
true mental illness.
illness. That's not all, you know. They need other things. And the people who have depression and anxiety and they turn to drugs to ease it, they have the mental capacity to come to a decision and say, I can't keep living like this. Something I'm gonna do something to myself, so I'm gonna seek help. But a person who is truly have mental illness can't. They think whatever is going on with them is normal. They cannot come to their own consent because that brain tells them they're right. And that's the dilemma. And then if it's not an emergency, meaning that if they're not threatening to kill themselves or harm someone else, there's nothing a loved one can do to help a person who have mental illness. Nothing you can do. So that's that fine line. That's that fine line. So if she still have the capacity to make the choice, to consent to treatment, then that's the only thing that I feel that will help her. I believe the symptoms of the bipolar will reduce because things will start being put in place and she will start using other skills and other technologies or techniques rather to reduce those symptoms.
His last comment down at the bottom.
Yeah.
Did you want me to read that one out loud?
Well, yeah, I see it. I see it.
Okay.
Well, yeah, sometimes it is genetically handed down. So that means a parent or a great grandparent or a grandparent or great grandparent, something has been passed down through the genes genetically, and that's why it's affecting the family. And sometimes on the spiritual level, we come in carrying some energy from our past lives that we have to learn how to get off of us in this life.
Mhm.
I just believe that too, spiritually and energetically. Um, Things that we experience in our mother's womb as babies, we take that in.
Mhm.
And sometimes stuff that's on us don't belong to us, but because it's so close, we feel like it's us. But if you take a closer examination, these things could be revealed to you and you could begin to start working on letting that go and say, that don't belong to me. That's not me. That's not me. That doesn't belong to me. And you get
Can
that
I
energy.
ask,
Yes.
does your work with this word gives me trouble,
hmm
Reiki, does that reveal these type of things that you're explaining right now?
Yeah, Reiki, you know, can bring out some ancestral things, some genetic things, because it's just energy. You're tapping into the person's energy, and their energy is telling you the story. And so, whatever you bring out, you inform the person. Like, this is what I felt. Did you feel that? This is what it was telling me. Do you? Is that true? You know, you kind of tap in and to what's going on with them, and then you help them work with how to release because every cell in our body is alive and we hold memory. Old memory is all there. We think because it's past, it's not there, but it's in us at a cellular level.
Right.
So we really need to do the work to clear that up, clear it out at a cellular level.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Read, G, I'm sorry. His comment was, "Mama FeFe, why do a lot of warriors suffer from depression real bad? I don't let SCD affect me mentally. I don't do depression. I think that's depression."
Yeah, so sickle cell disease, SCD, that's what he means by that.
Okay.
Well, I think it ties in with everything that I've been saying about not knowing who you are. I think, like I said, when I was bullied, when I first found out at the age of 6 that I had sickle cell disease, I looked at my mom and I was like, what? And she looked up at me like, "Mm." You know, we never heard of it. We never heard of it. She's like, I don't know, you know. And so we just listened to the doctor when he said, well, your daughter might not live past 21. And, you know, this is what's going to happen. And she got to take X, Y, and Z medicine. I wasn't taking no medicine before I knew anything about sickle cell. Now I got to take folic acid for the rest. Can you imagine hearing that for the rest of your life? You know, taking, you know, folic acid, needing antibiotics up until a certain age because the complications you can have. That can play a mental illness on you. That can play some kind of mental health issue on you because now you got to figure out, well, who am I with this thing? But this is all we have to look forward to. So you get depressed, you get anxious because you're trying to figure it out. So we can't blame, you know, the victim, so to speak, the person who have sickle cell. But what we can do is encourage them to look on the other side, to really dig deep to see what they're made out of. What is their self-talk? I can't do this. I can't do that. If you keep saying that, you can't. If you keep saying that, then you're right. You cannot do that because you're speaking it. But if I help you and train you on how to say, I am worthy, I can do it, I am doing it, I am doing this today, and I'm going to do this tomorrow, and I am healthy, I
Mm-hmm.
am healthy, I am prosperous, I am abundant, I can do anything when I put my mind. If I teach you things to say, and then, like, in the moment, when you're really feeling depressed, you stop, you take a breath, you look around, and then you start naming things and saying what color it is, and so you can put your feet flat on the floor, feel the floor, and become present. And then look around and say, well, is any of that happening? Whatever you feeling, like, is that? Am I safe? Yes, I'm safe. Is this really happening? No, that's not happening. You know, so you have to bring yourself to reality because we can catastrophize things and make it worse just based on a thought that's not real.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. We're not aware of how powerful a being we
Yeah,
are, going back to the concept of being created in the most high, the image of the most high. He spoke things into existence, and as a replica or duplication of our higher power, we
can
manifest
speak it.
with our mouth, with our tongue. We create the space in which we live in, so we have to be mindful of what
Of
we
what you
say.
say.
Absolutely.
That is so true. So, if you don't believe in depression, that's why you're not depressed. If you don't believe it, it ain't real to you. And that's why it doesn't affect you because you don't give it the time of day. But if you're focusing on that, that's all you're going to get is what you focus on.
Giving it your power to exist.
Exactly. Exactly. So I had to come to grips at the age of, I think I was like 23, 24. I had a bad crisis. I was having crisis like one week in, one week out the hospital, one week in, one week. I mean, I was back to back, back to back. You in the hospital again? Yes. And I kept doing this back and forth. And one day I went in. I said, this is not healthy for you either to keep coming to the hospital. You know, even though you get relief, you get the pain, you get better, you get the pain under control, you get better. But that's not healthy either. The medication is not healthy.
Right.
What was this crisis is not healthy. It's traumatizing to the body. You know, you keep doing this, you will expire sooner than you want to. So, Felicia, get it together. What is it? What keeps causing you to be sick? And I had to think about it. And the thing that I learned is that sickle cell work on stress. Anytime I'm stressed or anytime I didn't want to have a confrontation with somebody and I held it in, I'm sick. And so when I thought about that, I said, oh no, everybody going on with their life, they happy and fine. They done said what they need to say. Felicia, you need to say what you need to say. Because people is living their life and going on. They done said what they want to say. And now you in the hospital sick, girl. You better start talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's when I learned. I said, "Oh no, I'm gonna reverse this energy because energy keep being put on me, and I carry it. I'm gonna accept my responsibility for what I do, and the rest I'm giving that stuff back.
Right.
I'm not holding it. I'm not carrying it, and that solved that problem. I was no
That's,
longer in one week and out the nuts. No longer. I don't know
that's
when.
phenomenal.
I don't know when the last time I've been in a hospital for a crisis. I've been in a hospital, but because of other complications, other things, but not in pain. And every time they ask, are you in pain? Nope. I didn't come here for pain. I came here for something else. Always been something else. And they keep checking. You want something for pain? Nope. Don't. I'm not in pain. I didn't come here for that. You sure you're not in pain? Nope. I'm not in pain. I'm sure I'm not in pain. You know? And it's so phenomenal to them that, wow, she's not in pain. You know? But yeah, it's my mind because I made up my mind, like you said earlier, Chante, that I live with sickle cell, but I'm not sickle cell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sickle cell is in me, but I'm not in sickle cell. And
Right. Right.
I,
That's
have
empowering.
I have an identity. Felicia, my mom said, I named you Felicia. That's your name. And I just never corrected anybody because I had friends in high school named Felicia, and hey, everybody call them Felicia. I just let them call me Felicia, but my name is Felicia. That's how you pronounce my name. So I, Felicia, have an identity.
Mm-hmm. And that's the work that is done as sex coach. Is separating yourself from your trauma, separating yourself from your dis-ease, and being your authentic self outside of those traumas and diseases. That you can live a life that you desire, even under some of the strictest of circumstances. That they don't have you, but you have them. And you can learn to live with them, but you being who you want to be, your true and authentic self.
Right.
So G says that is so true. Stress is the biggest reason for crisis. He also said that is beautiful what you have just shared. And even though I suffer from chronic pain every day, I don't let it affect my mental well being. That is
That's good.
awesome.
What do you do? You meditate or something? What do you do? What do you do to keep your mental health, your mental fitness? That's what it is, really.
Mm-hmm.
Just share that with us, G, if you can. But we went overtime.
Absolutely.
Oh
If
my
I could wrap, if I could just say some few remarks about Six Coach,
Yes, go right ahead.
I, oh my goodness. Oh, he says that G says, I pray and I give it to God. There's no
Give
better
him the
answer.
glory, give God. Give him the glory, glory, give God. Give him the glory.
This is amazing.
Soldier. That's why we warriors. Soldier.
Yes.
Yeah. Yay. Okay. Appreciate it. All
the
right, go
the
ahead.
work that is being done here at Six Coach from the very beginning, I had no idea that we would, that you and the brand would evolve to this space. It is truly, it really is truly an honor to walk with you every day
Oh,
and watch you grow and expand and step all the way into who you are.
thank you.
It's amazing. I know we did a lot of unpacking and breaking down and unpacking and breaking it down. Right now is
Oh,
just
girl, you get on
phenomenal.
my nerves, Lord child. Jesus, this girl at work now. But I know she believed in my brand and believed in me, so it was all worth it.
Yes, and just to think about in the beginning how all of this hadn't yet come all the way out. But this is
No.
amazing. Just to know that it's still unfolding. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, it is. So, what is the future of MaMa FeFe, Felicia Hunt, Six Coach? What's next?
Well, what's the future for MaMa FeFe? Well, hopefully in the future, I would love to move from remote to a location. Also, like you say, I wanted to be more global. I also want to have MaMa FeFe merchandise. What I have on is kind of like part of the merchandise that I would like to sell. And I don't have on my merchandise earrings today, but I do have some MaMa FeFe earrings, things that I'm working with, a stylist and a creator of MaMa FeFe branding in terms of merchandise. We are coming up with some things, and we will have a merchandise page on my website coming up soon. Um, yeah, I just want to expand and develop my uh, mandatory family mandatory family reunion, breaking cultural barriers, nonprofit, and start some mental health programs to support families and parents who have adult children with mental health issues. I do want to do something for that population, come up with some programming for that, and just to help the parents out because it's so difficult because there's nothing we can do. Our hands are literally tied, but you know, we can find some peace and know that our children are on their own journeys and that they did in spirit write an end to the madness. And so we have to just trust that they wrote a good ending, that they could come up out of it, and we just be there to protect them and catch them and guide them through the journey still. So that's one of my passions I want to do. But yeah, I want to have a one-stop shop where I have coaching and I have therapy and I have Reiki and I have card reading and I have all different types of modalities, yoga, dancing, all under one umbrella where people can come and work on their well-being for life.
All right. So for now, where can we find you?
Well, for now, you can find me at www the numbers dot www.6excoach.life to visit my website. If you have any questions, you can email me at info.6coach.life and I'll be there to answer your question. You want to get on my email, you know, leave your information here in the comment and I'll put you on my emailing list. Or just email me and give me the information and I'll put you on the emailing list to keep you involved in whatever I do.
Awesome.
Yay.
It was fun.
This was fun. We're at the end. Any last questions? Anything? What it says every day. I don't let it affect my mental well-being. We said that. I pray and give it to God. Yes, and leave it there. Yes. So, you
That's
know,
the trick.
that's for sure. That is for sure. If you don't leave it there, you just drag that stuff on. You can't. You gotta leave it like, hey, I done made my prayer. He done answered. He got it. I don't have to keep praying over and over
Over and
again.
over.
It's done. Wonderful. So I
Well,
have
G,
your
I took down. Yep, we took down your information. We'll make sure to put you on the email list.
yay.
Awesome.
Oh, this has been wonderful. Thank you all for joining us today with Candid Conversation with MaMa FeFe. We will possibly do this again. This was our first trial on this. I just wanted to come here and give you a little taste about who I am and what I do so that you can feel comfortable about seeking services if you like. Um, yeah. So, any last remarks you need to say, Chante?
Oh no, I just thank everybody for participating, listening in. This is my first rodeo, so thank you guys for making it
Yay.
pleasant
Give
and
Chante
fun.
a hand. She did a wonderful job. Yes. Yes. I love her. She works very well with me, and I appreciate her. So, thank you so much for joining. It's MaMa FeFe. Peace out.